Hello, boys and girls, and everything magical and mythical and mysterious in between. This is going to be the first thing I want to say, because it's not going to be too complicated, and I can't insult too many people. I wanted to start with something easy so I don't mess up right from the get-go. I wanted to talk about my friend and I in our doggy walks. We usually argue about a random spontaneous topic for a few hours and then get really heated, and then I come home and write a 2-page blog entry on the thoughts. We are two different people. We are different in the sense that we can watch the same film and it's going to be a different film when we talk about it. For example, she saw The Passengers the other day and she thought it was romantic. I thought it was an abomination. I thought the man effectively, condemned to death, then basically raped and manipulated a woman because he was, he did give up on life extremely quickly. Do people really do that? Are we so weak as natural problem solvers that that's it? After a year of failing how to solve a problem, we just get drunk and smash things up? That aside, I really, really wanted to say how stupid that ship was. How badly designed. It was really badly designed. On another channel I'm fond of, Comic Book Girl 19, she stresses how fun it would be for a change. I think she was talking about either Alien, Covenant or the movie Life. One of these. Would be fun for a change to have the scientists do everything right and still lose versus the monster. As opposed to everyone, as soon as a new apex predator arrives in town, starting to panic and act stupid and die, usually falling off something. Or just making a terrible self-sacrifice, which makes no sense, for no reason, in 5 minutes. No. I agree that it would be depressingly and disarmingly refreshing. I think that's one of the things that makes the Alien movies, after 40 years, still seem so enthralling. They're always set in a different environment, a challenging environment, an alien environment, and half the time the monster is not the worst thing happening to the people. They're already somehow damaged or somehow unhinged or corrupt. I may be alone in this one, but I think the third one illustrates this the best. This concept of such incredible loneliness, being so incredibly lost amid all that iron and gold and the dripping passages, and she's there preyed upon by the worst of humanity, which instantly switches to the weakest of humanity when she needs them. I mean, she's naked, she has no weapons, she has no tools to speak of, all alone, running around places she doesn't understand, any which can end in a fan which will turn you into a smooshie. The Lady Ripley, she's so at the end of her will to fight, she does ultimately surrender, spoiler, but just how heavy those thrusting old prison halls are, I can never get out of them really. I still dream in them sometimes. That was really well done. It makes the monster rather exciting by comparison, like this awful remake of a play called Event in the City of Goga, where people are so despondent and bored really that anything that happens is a form of entertainment, is a form of a catalyst, and that's a terrible state of mind to be in. But I wanted to talk about dumb ships. In Alien Covenant we have two rather stupidly designed ships, the ship itself and then its dropship land. Well, this is space. It's not a transporter space from A to B, but exploration and colonization space. You don't design the quarantine on the other side of the vessel, like a medical bay across the place, and the infected person has to bleed all over the walls and the halls, and before you get there, and once you do get there, it's no more contained than it would be in a salon. Yeah, we are talking a ship that carries enough wood for a cottage. Why would you... And has this huge machinery tied down with steel chains. Like, why? Do you know how much steel weighs? That it doesn't make any sense. Who put these things there? Gosh. And in the main medical bay, there is no ways of disposing a threat. None. There is no... You don't go out into a jungle and not even bring a mosquito net. These are people who are supposed to be shepherds to the flock, and they seem to be as trained in protocol as much as they have been chosen for their stability and calm leadership demeanor. I mean, I love them. I really do. I love Prometheus. And Ridley Scott is a deity in my sky, but come on. I digress again. In life, which does take place on a station, not a ship, granted, they are slightly better prepared, and a better research lab is slightly better built, with more shells to it. The first half of the movie does seem between the protagonists, the engineering of the location and the monster, it's going to be an equal fight. But then the movie gets away from the writers and people just start dying one stupid way after another within the scope of an hour. In the Aliens, Prometheus and Covenant, while people sleep, there is at least an android caretaker around, so that's logical. If you have them, then use them. Because there is a barman android on the ship and passengers, but not a single mechanic. Then that's not the worst thing about it. There's no skeleton crew on standby. Someone making rotations, like a 5-year, not absolute sleep, but semi-sleep, so that in case there's problems, which they are going to be in space, you need to wake people who know what to do up. That ship could have been knocked off an orbit, or it could have been perforated. It could have... Yeah. Or the only person who wakes up is a guy who doesn't know anything about anything, except how to get drunk and break things. Like a child. I've worked on a ship, a passenger ship, of around 2,500 people on board most of the time. 900 of which were not crew. There are things you will always find on ships in the real world. They're equipped for emergency rescue, so there's always cabins ready to house more than what it says on the door. They are very strict, don't mess with protocols in case of problems. And lastly, crew is drilled. It is drilled and drilled again. Outbreaks of some sort of medical condition happen all the time. Where there are 1,000 passengers within the confines of an iron hull, mixing, eating, swimming in pools, someone is going to spread something. It is unavoidable. So there is always a crew running around, making sure it stays extremely limited. You don't want to compromise the economic endgame of each cruise. It's not shocking that an outbreak of a gastric infection suddenly ruins someone's day. It happens all the time. We've never had a cruise without it. We were really well prepared for it. So, for someone to design a ship of 1,000 sleeping civilians without at least a dozen spare cryocoffins, that's unrealistic. What if you had a distress call and you picked someone up? Ships are designed to do that, I guess. Man-run ships do that all the time. For a ship of 1,000 civilians not to have an emergency crew on a standby, that's inconceivable. And then the guy and the girl live happily ever after, making themselves a farm in the middle of a ship. What universe is that? Are the animals made of plastic? Have you not ever heard of pests and things that spread with animals? Also, I've been wondering why the ships are so incredibly vast and big. Yes, because they can be, for sure, because there is space for them. But the bigger the ship, the larger the field of possible damage. Pellets running around space, that happens all the time. Also places where infections can spread. When you are talking a freight train, you don't need the option of running around the whole train. This isn't Snowpiercer. You just tug the carts. Why would a cargo ship have the cargo within the ship? I'm looking at you, Nostromo. An Auriga in Alien 4 is enormous. So is the ship in Event Horizon. I understand the size of ships hosting practically entire civilizations on the go, like the Borg or the creatures in Independence Day, or warships which need ammunition and storage for smaller machines, but what the fuck is that? And why would sleeping civilians be in a nice big vast room, such a clear waste of space? Stack them up like they did on the way to Pandora in Avatar. Hunter Gratzner in Pitch Black is more logically built. It's tiny, for one. There are, I think, 2 compartments for crew and passengers, and the rest is attached carts, which the pilot purchased upon forced entry. I don't remember exactly how long the ship is, 4 or 5 cars. I'd have to watch the film again. It's not a bad film, it's not a hard ship. It's a more realistic freight ship. Upon a problem, at least the crew wakes up. And if they weren't perforated, but instead suffered a parasite infestation, they could just lock the compartments and forget about it. Freeze it to temperature of the universe and let the customs handle it once they reach their destination quarantine. Do you honestly think that when you cross a continental border, nobody's ever heard of a dangerous organism before? People smuggle snakes, for fuck's sakes. I could go on, I really could. But that was a spontaneous, unprepared thing, and now that I look back, I really should have done more research. Practice makes perfect. Next time.